All right, welcome back again. So let's go ahead and see our topology, what we are going to configure now. So this is my topology. All right, so I will select the red color. That should be good. All right, so my plan is to install 4 ESXi machines with this configuration over here. I'm just going with a very small configuration for the ESXi's. And these 4 switches I will be creating on the workstation. So I think switch 1 is already been created. I will create one more adapter with the switch 2, and I will create one more adapter with the, now I will not create the adapter for storage switching. So management is the bridge one. These two will be the host only adapters. And again, this one for the storage, if you remember that in the ESX I have created the ICE key target. So I will use the bridge network in order to get to that target. Okay, so storage networking we will do at the very end of the course. Right, so my requirements are that when these are the 4 different color links, so one of them says represent 2 links. So that means if I have 1, 2, 3, and 4, that means 4 into 2. I do have total 8 uplinks. So in my machines, I should be assigning 8 uplinks, that is 8 network adapters, 2 for the management. So first 2 will be assigned to the bridge one, and the second 2 will be assigned to switch 1 adapter, third 2 will be assigned to switch 2 adapter, and the last one again will be assigned to the bridge adapter. So the sequence, we will be following the sequence. So sequence is very much important because we are going to create those virtual switches. All right. Now, virtual switches that will be created in the vCenter server. This is my vCenter server over here, which is connected on the management network 192.168.1.102. All right, so I will be having the ESX size going with 201, 202, 203, and 204. And you can see that I have given the management and the storage networking going on the same network. All right, so to deploy this one, I will just go to the workstation now simply. And I will create the machines, click on next. And here I will select the VMvisor 8, click on next. And here I will say that ESXi1, and also I will create the folders for these ones in my VM folder, and within that folder I will say ESXi all, and within this folder I will create 4 folders for 4 different machines, that is ESXi1 and ESXi2, ESXi3, and ESXi4. That's it. So folder within the folder, that should be all good now. So next I will go to the browse and I will go to this PC, I will go to the D1, I will go to the VM1, then I will go to the ESXi all, then select ESXi1. Next, 150 GB for the first one and finish. I'll go ahead and edit and I will say that I have 4 GB, that should be more than enough. And hard disk, I need one more, that is 150 GB for my VMs, for current VMs. And these first 2 will be the pack 1 network adapters going as a bridge, and the third and fourth adapter will be attached to the switch 2. Okay, I don't have the switch 1, so what I will do is that first I will create those adapters. And here I will just rename that one to switch 1. I will create one more, that is VMnet 3, and I will rename that one to switch 2, and I will also disable the DHCP and click on apply and OK. That should be good. Now if I come back here, now I should see switch 1, add one more network adapter to the switch 1. Next we will add one more adapter to switch 2. Now this is a manual process because ESXi means that will be installed on the bare metal and there is no shortcut that I can duplicate or something. For so far I can say network adapter, this one will be again on the bridge one, and finally last one that should also be on the bridge one. So I click on OK, and now I should see two bridge, two switch 1, two switch 2 and two bridge at the end, and two hard disks, 4 GB and this one. So let me see if I am able to make any duplicate or not. Yep, I do have an option to clone it. Click on next, click on next, create a full clone ESXi2, and I will browse it. So this PC VM. Okay, so we do have a cloning one. Right, so what I will create a new folder for my ESXi's, and I will just transfer them to here so that it will be easy for me to understand. Alright, so I got the two ESXi's over here, so let me start the clone one first, whether it starts or not. Let me see. If it is starts, then I will just create the clones for two more. That's so good. Yep, it is starting. Okay, so let's do the clone for the another one, that is the current state. Create a full clone. This will be ESXi3, and after that I will scroll down to my pretty VM all three. Okay, and finish. So it's creating the clone. Let me create one more clone, then I will start off all the machines. Now always keep eye on your CPU usage. Right, so clone is created, that is good. Should have ESXi3. Now I will create the last one, then I will start off all of them. Okay, VM6, all four, and now coming back to my topology, what I will do is that I will create a cluster first, and within so I will first create a data center one. Within this data center one I will create a cluster, so I will say cluster 1, and within this cluster I will deploy ESXi 1, 2 and 3. Then I will create data center 2. Within that one I will deploy ESXi 4, so that we can have two different scenarios over here. So one will be the cluster, so I will explain you why I am deploying the cluster when we come there across. So now if I go back to my ESXi4, I will just shift it over here, and now I will start all the machines. So 1 is being started, 2 is being started, 3 is being started, and 4 is being started. So 2 already should be almost loaded. 3 and 4. Alright, so let's go back to our vCenter server. Now here I will right click on it, create a new data center, that should be DC1. Next I will create one more data center, that should be DC2. And this data center I will, if I just click on those options. There is nothing. So right click on the first one. I will say add a new cluster. And now you see that the reason for adding a cluster is that I will have some capabilities and extra capabilities. So two of these capabilities, that is the Sphere vSphere DRS, vSphere high availability, and vSAN. Now vSphere DRS, that is dynamic resources allocation. So I do have a ability to dynamically allocate the resources, because when we say cluster means ESXi 1, 2 and 3 are clubbing together now. So if we enable these options, we do have an option. So we can say to vCenter server to make a decision where to deploy the virtual machines in these three hosts. And these three hosts can be on the different location, different network, doesn't matter until unless they are able to communicate. Next, vSphere high availability. That means in order if something goes down, then vCenter server will look after that one and make sure that the virtual machines have been transferred or running alternatively. Virtual SAN is again connecting our external ICE key to the current one. So that is what the option is, and it will give us the ability to have a centralized storage. Otherwise, you can say networking storage. So networking storage means all the VMs and everything, files, folders will be saved onto the storage which is located on the network, which will be acting as a centralized storage. And none of the VMs are dependent on their particular local host. And vCenter server can make a decision, okay, this host has gone down, so let me start up the VM on the different host simply. So these are the different features and abilities we do get when we are creating a cluster. So I will say CL1. Now manage all hosts in the cluster with a single image. So if I click on that one with this option, all hosts in a cluster inherit the same image, thus removing variability between hosts. It also brings more features like hardware compatibility. Okay, so I'm just making sure that all the hosts which will be added on this particular cluster all does have the same version of image running, so that we don't have any issues with the dynamic resource allocation or high availability or virtual storage networking. Now choose how to set up a new cluster image, compose a new image, import an image from the existing vCenter. Don't worry, compose the new image and click on next. So it says that the image version is this one for now. I will just keep the default one because I don't know. And the next and finish. Now at the bottom you can see that it is now creating a cluster for me. Now that's until that has been created, let's go back to the ESXi one. So let's install the ESXi's. So I have two of them. I will select the first one and install. So until that has been installed, I will go to the second one. And install the second one. I will go to the third one. And install. Let's go to the fourth one. Okay, let's go back to the first one. It's almost installed, I think. No, second one still going on, third one going on. So let these install now. Let's go back to the vCenter server now. Now you should see that I have a cluster now. Now cluster, you see that there is an warning sign over there. So we say that vSAN alarms are suppressed until the cluster is fully configured on the quick start workflow is skipped. So it's asking me to run the quick start workflow in order to complete the cluster requirements. And after that, it will start detecting the vSAN virtual networking, which we will do later on. So we are not worried about it. Now currently we are installing the host, so we wait until that is being installed. And we have to configure these hosts in order to get them onboarding. Okay, so one is rebooting, second is rebooting, third one is also rebooting, that's fine. And the last one is still installing. Okay, that was quick, and that is also rebooting now. Now we will configure those all things, and once we configure things, what I will do is that I will log off from here. So I will log off from the ESX vCenter server. I will go to my Windows Server machine and I will download the Google Chrome. I think Google Chrome will be the best option. Okay. So I do have the internet connectivity. That should be all good. It should download and install that. Now, let me create the DNS names for all the ESXi host. So let me go to the forward one. I will remove this one for now. And you see that my PC is now hanged. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so before I configure that one, let my mm, okay, my DNS server itself has hanged. Okay, that's not a problem. So what I will do, I will skip the DNS names for now to be on a safe side. I don't want to get into mess. So alright, so root and that's it. And I will just configure the IP addresses for now. It should be 201 and the default gateway is good. And yes, that's it. Now that is been saved, so I will do the same thing for the second one. Configure management, IPv4 202, and that's it. Okay, that's been changed to 202. Now, third one, configure management, IPv4 and 203. Escape, yes. And the fourth one will be 204. and that's it. So my ESXi machines are now all good. So let me go to the vCenter server in here itself. Uh, all right, so now it is asking me to assign the vCenter server license. So I will click on manage license because I just want to remove it. And you see that I do, okay, there is one evaluation license, so that's why it might be saying that. That's okay. Not a problem. Let's go back to the inventory now. This inventory, you see that we do have a cluster. Our ESXi 1, 2, and 3 are ready. So let's go ahead and add the host now. Now click on over here, you will see in the quick start, add host, you will see add host. And here you can add the host, that is 192.168.1.201. Username will be root, password will be 123 hash. Add the host, and you see that you have an option, use the same credentials for all the machines, so we don't worry about the credentials now. 192.168.1.202 and 192.168.1.203. That's it. Click on next, and now you see that all the host has we are getting the certificates of them self-signed. Select all of them, so you select this option, click on OK. So it's giving you the certificate error one, so don't worry because it's a self-signed. So login into the host 201 failed, all of them failed. What might be the reason? Maybe the password. Okay, should be good now. Yep, password was the issue. And now you see that I do have the 3 hosts and there is one data store in all of the 3 hosts. Now click on next. Optionally, you can import an image from this host to set the cluster new image. Select which host. Don't import any image because as we know that I am going with the same version 8, so it shouldn't cause any problem for that one. The host will enter maintenance mode before they are moved to the cluster. You might need to either power off or migrate powered on and suspend virtual machine. So now since we are adding this to the cluster, the virtual ESXi host will run into the maintenance mode and it will be offline until it finishes its checks. So click on finish, and now you can see that they are running in the maintenance mode. And if I just call up at the bottom, you see that some resources are now running. Okay, so looks like that has been done. So all good. Again, I got the maintenance mode. Physical memory check. So it's doing that one. Revalidate. That's fine. Again, we are doing with the test one. So what is this one? You see that it says that vSAN configuration error occurred. Again, as I said that I'm not configuring the vSAN, so that's why that might be the problem. So for that one, while creating the cluster, if I go to vSphere, high availability, DRS, vSAN cluster licensing, trust authority, vSAN services. Let me see if I am able to disable that target one. Okay, storage. Okay, performance is enabled, filed. Okay. Yeah, it's asking me to check that also. So what I will do, I will click on skip quick start for now and continue, and that should give me my cluster should be up and running very soon now. because for the vSAN again we will check in the later option. I have enabled that vSAN. I should not be doing. I should have turned on later on, but that's fine. So you see that I do have a not configured host, three of them. Why is that? Host is in a vSAN cluster but does not have vSAN services enabled because of insufficient memory or other errors. Insufficient memory, 4 GB minimum is required is 16 GB. Alright, so what I will do is that I will just remove this one now. I will delete the cluster for now because for vSAN it requires 16 GB of RAM, so that's a lot. So I have to skip totally the vSAN virtual, what do you say, vSAN networking storage. Alright, so that is been removed now. So I will create the new cluster one more time. That should be the CL1. And I will just enable these two options, not the vSAN ones. So click on next, next, and finish. It should deploy the cluster again. So once the cluster has been deployed, this time we did not select the vSAN. That should be fine. Only we need the DRS and the high availability now. Okay, do you have few minutes to share some feedbacks? Don't show these again. Close. So I'm adding the host now. So I will add 192.168.1.201. Username will be root. Password will be mois123 hash. And I will add the host. I will use the same credentials now, 202 and 203. So these are the three hosts. Click on next and don't import anything and finish. This time it did not ask you for the certificate because we already accepted that certificate and it has already acknowledged that one. So it is now directly adding the virtual machines, that is ESXi's now host. And now once these are configured, now I do have another option to configure the cluster. Click on configure. And you say that it's asking me to configure the distributed switch and it is asking me to configure the switch and everything. I will say configure network settings later. I don't want to do right now. An advanced option, host failure monitoring, it is by default doing, and I want to enable the virtual machine monitoring also. Admission control, host failure tolerance is only 1 minute. Next, DRS fully automated, I am not doing anything. And migration threshold is 3. So if I click on this one, migration threshold measure how much imbalance across. So it is just checking how much it should be the imbalance between the host. Host option, lockdown mode disable, normal or strict. NTP server, we don't worry about it unless it is a production. Enhance vMotion compatibility, I will enable that one. And I will just keep it as a default generation one. vMotion means whenever vMotion is definitely required for migrating the host from one host to the other one. And also if something happens because we are enabling the high availability, that will also help to migrate the virtual machine from one host to another. So click on next. Customize the cluster settings. Oh my, come on. No. Looks like 203 is giving me some problem. 1 and 3. Let me see what's the problem. I'll click on configure one more time. Configure later, next. So what I will do currently, this is fully automated. Lockdown mode, don't worry about it. I will also enable that one later on. Virtual machine, I will click on OK, next. And that should be all good. Yep. It's just my machine sometimes. We do have a connectivity issues for a while, and after that it should be good. All right, so both of them are enabled. That's all good. And click on finish. And after that, it should remove from my maintenance mode now. Now, this will be done. Until then, I will go to the data center 2 and I will say add host. And here I will add 192.168.1.204. Click on next and I will add the username and password 123. Click on next. Accept that one. Click on next. And currently it has the evaluation license. I will assign it later on. Click on next. Don't change anything, just click on next and finish. That's it. So currently if I click on this one, this is where it is giving me some error warning sign, but there is no message or anything. That's strange. Okay, it has been removed now. All right, so all the four hosts are added to the inventory now. So I do have something in my inventory. So if I go to the global inventory visibility, virtual machines, I don't have anything right now, but this is the other one. Don't worry about it. And we don't have templates yet. We don't have many data. Yes, we do have a data centers. And within that one, we do have hosts now. And within that, we do also have a cluster now. So we start seeing the data now slowly as it is generating over here. So let's go back to the inventory now. So now my cluster is all good, everything is all fine. Now it's time to deploy the virtual machines on that one. So what I'm going to do is that before I deploy the virtual machine, so if I go to the data store, you see that I do have the data stores, all of them. But if you remember that all the four ESXi's have their own 150 GB of data stores. So we'll click on the DC one, click on configure, nope, data stores, and I will select, there is no option for data store. Okay, let me go to the individual host and see if I have storage, new data store, VMFS, and here I will name this one as ESXi1 VMs. I will select the one which is 150 GB. Next, next, use all partition, don't worry about it, next and finish. So if I go back to my data store now, I should have ESXi 1. I forgot to give number 1, but I will do the same thing for the second one, storage, new data store, next, xi 2 VMs, next, next and finish. I will do the same thing for the third one, that is adding a new data store. That should be ESXi3 VMs. And finally for the fourth one. All right, so if I come back here now, I do have 1, 2, and 3, and 4 ESXi's virtual, what do we say, data stores now installed. So if I come back to the networking, I can see all the network adapters over here, that is VM network, which is a default one. So acknowledge that one, or okay, that's fine. So that's asking for the high availability. We will look into that later on. So that's all good. Now we are almost set now. So if I go to the cluster, it says that I have some issues over here. Let me see what is that one. Your cluster is now successfully configured and ready to run workloads. That's all fine. So if I go to the high availability host failure, we are detecting. Host isolation, we are not doing. So these are the different features we can utilize for now. Okay, I will just skip for now. DRS is also enable fully automated power management. We are not worried about it. Coming to the cluster general compatibility, we don't worry about it. Okay, that's all good. Looks like we are set to go. Now the first thing is that if I go to the vCenter server, go to the configure and go to the licenses, I have assigned the license for the vCenter server, but we need to manage the license also. Let me see in the data center if we have configure. So we can also do a centralized license management. That is what I am looking for. Advanced settings, nope. Authentication proxy, key storage. Yeah, definitely we can manage the licenses centrally. Looks like version 8 has different options, so I need to find exactly where we can. So if I click on monitor, event task, inoperability, container permissions, data centers, host and clusters, VM we don't have yet, data store, networks, linked vCenter server, nothing, extension, updates, nope, nothing. Okay. Alright, with the alert, if I click on that one, do I get any? No, I don't get anything. Yeah, definitely I'm sure that we can manage the licenses. Let me see, content library workload. Let me go to the administrator. Yep, license is over here. Alright, so it is under the administrator and under the license. And if I click on add, because I don't have a ESXi license added over here, so I will click on add and I will add the license key. I will click on next. I will say that ESXi license. I will use the same license for everyone. Next and finish. Now it's time to use this license now. So what I will do is that I will go back to my inventory. I will go back to my cluster and see. Now go back to the host, go to the configure, and I should see the licensing over here. Click on assign license and you have ESXi license. Click on OK. That's it. Do the same thing for click on that one. You are on the same option. So click on the same host, you will be under the same option. Just click on 3, you are straight away on that same option. I'm assigning the same license to all of the hosts. Alright, so now the license things has been done, so everything is good. So now I am happy to go ahead and deploy my virtual machines now. Now it says that high availability host status. Okay, vCenter server is unable to find a master vSphere high availability agent in the cluster DC1. That's fine because we have not configured that one yet, so should be good. All right, let's go back to the inventory now. So I will just right click and click on add a new virtual machine, and this one should be deployed from template. Yep, I will select the template because that should be the OVF file. So it is saying not found anything. Okay, I will select the create a virtual machine. Where you want me to deploy, so I will, but I want to deploy the OVF file, so that's the option I am looking for. So if I right click on that one, okay, I have a separate option for OVF template. So I will say local file, click on upload, and straight away I'm on that management router. Click on next. I will say this one should be micro tick router, MRT maybe, or MKT. Because I'm going to make this as a template, then after that I will start deploying the. So I will select the data center one, that is where I want to install it. Click on next. And now if you want, you can go ahead and specifically assign the host where you want to deploy. Or you can just say that, okay, deploy under this cluster, no matter where you want to install. So we are not deciding where we want to deploy the virtual machine. Okay, so let it finish its checks now. Okay, no certificate is required. That is what it is. Click on next. Select the storage. So we say that we want a thin provision, and let me save. Okay, data store default policy. Okay, it is asking me to select the storage. Okay, I will select in the first one, ESXi one. Okay, click on next. So by default there is only one networking, we don't worry about it. Click on next, and after that click on finish. And I should have in the inventory now the virtual machine deployed under 201 because that is what the storage I have selected for. Okay, this is now deploying. Alright, so you see that it is not exactly showing me where I have installed that one, but what it does shows is that it is under this cluster. That means it can be hosting on any of those ESXi host. So if I click on this one, let me see where it has hosted in that one. I will do one thing, I will just start the machine for now. No host is compatible with the virtual machine. That's strange. That's why it is not showing. Okay, what I would delete and redeploy that one now. Deploy OVF file, local file, and let me select the KT microtic router data center 1, and under the cluster I will select this one, click on next. This time I'm specifically selecting the host number 1. It is doing its pre-check. So click on next, and it's giving me the data stores for both of them. I will say that thin provision layered 0. I will select the default one. Click on next, next, and finish. And now it is being hosting on the ESXi one. So now if you see that What I am doing is I am on the vCenter server. So vCenter server can be on a different network, maybe. So if it is on a different network or running on maybe you are on a different PC. From there, you are selecting the OVF template or the OVA template, and that template is now being taken from this particular location and is being transferred to the ESXi host. So that is what is going to happen. But since I am located on the same network, the transfer of file will be very fast, and it is also local. So I will click on this one and I will click on action, edit settings, and this one should be 5112, and the hard disk should be 8 GB. That should be thin layered 0. That's fine. Network adapter, I want to add. Click on add new device and you should see a network adapter, 1, 2, 3 and 4 adapters, and that should be all good, and click on OK. Alright, so let's start off the virtual machine now. No host is compatible with the virtual machine. Why it is saying that option? Okay, let me go ahead and deploy on this one also now. I think that is causing problem because of the high availability one. I just want to verify that. So I will say MT data center 2, click on next. Here's Excite 4, click on next. So if it is been deployed on this one, then I will go ahead and I will turn off the high availability also. Okay, that should be thin layered 0, ESXi4, click on next, next and finish. And I will also delete this from the disk. Now I will select this one, go to the action, edit the, okay, it is still deploying. Right, completed. So let's go to the action, edit settings. That should be 512 MB of RAM, and that should be 8 GB of. Next, add the network adapters 1, 2 and 3, 4. That's fine, and click on OK. That looks all good now. Everything is completed, all the operations are good. Let me click on turn on the machine. Yeah, does not have sufficient memory resources to satisfy the reservation. Okay, let me log into the ESXi 204. Why it is giving me the problem? Let me see that one. Okay, it is almost using 50 GB of RAM, and if I go to the virtual machine, that is 512 MB of hard disk, this one, that's still good. If I power on that one, yeah, it is powering on from the ESXi host, but I'm not sure why it is not powering on from the vCenter server. That's strange. So it is compatible, but it's just only not powering up from the vCenter server for some reason, which it should be, but not a problem. So it's okay. I got a workaround for that one. Let me see for the different machines, because this might be the router, so it might be the. So if I click on that one, so you see that by default my settings are set to the web console, so it has opened the web console. So I will just get my mouse in here and say, alright, so password has been changed. So this is what my machines looks like. So what I will do, I will right click on that one. I will just power off the machine now. So the benefit of this one is that if I do a right click and I want to make this one machine as a template, and I will say that convert to template, click on yes. And now if I go to the template, so if I go to data center 2, you see that it is now become a template. So that virtual machine which I installed, it's now available as a template. So if I right click on that one, new VM from this template, go to the data center DC1 and I will say MKT1, click on next, data center 1, cluster 1, there are compatibilities problems. The host is reporting error in its attempt to provide vSphere support. That's fine. I will select the vs201. That's fine. Next. And I will select the ESXi VM and thin provision layered 0. Click on next. I don't want to customize anything, so I just want to keep the same thing. If you want to customize, you select that option, so it will give you the option to customize. So if you want to customize the hardware, you see that you got the option. And if you want to customize the power on, like if you want to power on the machine by default, once it has been created, you can click. So I don't want to customize the operating system or virtual hardware. I just want to power on the virtual machine after that is been created, and that's it. Click on finish. And this is what the problem is. Again, with the ESXi vCenter server, yeah, I think that is happening because of the vSphere. So let me do one thing. I will just delete the cluster itself. So vSphere high availability, we will look into it later on, not now. So go ahead and create a new cluster. And here I will not enable anything for now. Now just click on go, next, next, and finish. So deploying cluster is a good thing because it will compress, like combine the resources together, and it will help you out a lot. So here I will click on add resources. I will say 192.168.201 root and Moise at the host. That should be 192.202, and I will just do a copy paste 203. Login failed. That should be the password only. Should be good. And now it is adding the host to the cluster. And it's under the maintenance mode right now. I will click on configure the cluster now. So currently I don't want to do any networking. Click on next. I don't want to change anything for now. Click on next, and that's it. My cluster should be up and running without any problem. Yep, that's all good now. 1, 2, and 3, all good. So let me now deploy the new virtual machine from this template to DC1, and I will say MKT1, and here I will just select the cluster. So cluster is not on DSR mode, so I will have to select the specific one. Click on next, select the specific data store, always select thin, sorry, that should be the thin provision always. Click on next. I don't want to do anything, just power on the machine and finish. And now this time it did not give me the error. think that might be the problem because I did not properly configure the high availability and the DRS and everything. So that might be the reason. But again, where is the virtual machine? I don't see it. Yep, I got my machine over here and it is also up and running. That's fantastic. So let's do the one more thing because I want four different routers on the four different ESXi host. So I will do the same thing, go to the DC one and I will say MKT2, click on next. Select this one, then provision next. I just want to power on, click on next and next finish. So yep, it is again deploying that one. Once that is been completed, it should show up here. It's already been showing up here. That's good. So let me go to the template again. Let's go to the new virtual template, select the VMware MKT3. So it became now so easy that I don't have to do all the settings and add the adapters, nothing. I just have the template, I just need to select the host and I'm just provisioning, deploying the virtual machine to that host and I'm just turning on the machines. So I'll do the last one, that should be DC2, that should be MKT4. Click on next, click on next. Power on that one. And that's it. So if I come back to my inventory, I see 1, 2, 3, and 4 machines which are all running. That's all good now. So that's how you make use of the templates. We deploy the using the what do we say vCenter server. The centralized management is so easy that now I can deploy any template, any virtual machine. Doesn't matter, irrespective of their location, I can deploy it anywhere. All right, so I hope this was informative for you and thank you.